How are you guys doing?
Hey, Mbulelo.
Malcolm Bass. How are you, sir?
All right, new man.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I'm alive.
Yeah, me too.
And I have nothing to complain about. Well, what's news today, bro? It was interesting. I met you a little bit earlier. And when I walked into you, I'm like, who's this guy? Nice beard. And when we were talking, and so you said to me, I work, or you were saying I have a community radio station. And you know what's funny for me is I haven't listened to radio in a long time. But I realized when I said, I don't know what a community radio station is. The way you looked at me, it was like I was crazy. But then I realized, no, this is still a real thing. People are still doing things for other people. And I'm glad you could join us, dude. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. Thank you, Mbulelo, right?
No. Mbulelo would be a lady, which is cool. It's 2021. It's 2021. I'm
That's
not,
what's up.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get hung up on that.
Yeah.
So Mbulelo is the dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No is lady. Mbulelo lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mbulelo dude.
Mbulelo.
There it is. That's
Now you sound like me.
Forbidden. What you saying, bro?
I'm good, brother. Thank you again.
Yes,
We're
come
back
on, bro.
again. It's a new week.
It's been a week, huh?
It's been a crazy ass week.
It's been a week,
Hey
dude.
guys, I found out that Chiefs is struggling. Why? Why is this happening, guys? You're from the south, right?
Yes, I am.
You from
Park.
Eldorado Parks.
Yeah.
So, how's the scenery that side in terms of
Chiefs.
Pirates?
Yeah, no, look, it's big. Chiefs is big.
Yeah.
Elders, it's a very huge
Yeah,
Chiefs supporters. I know
Ish.
a lot of my friends are Chiefs supporters. I have one or two Pirate supporter friends.
Let's not talk about last night.
I'm not big on soccer.
Yeah,
in its
yeah.
entirety.
You're not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but last night was a traumatic evening for Pirates fans.
Yeah.
So just obviously for people to know,
Ish.
4-1 Sundowns last night.
Yeah.
That was
Salute,
That's
Mr.
a bitter-
Motsepe.
that's
Salute.
a bitter
Salute.
pill.
Uh,
That's a bitter pill. That last night was ugly, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chiefs are struggling, Pirates are struggling.
Everybody's
Nothing's normal
Yeah,
right
nothing.
now.
Even in the corporate world, the media worlds, everything is just
Hey, let's start off with the craziest thing I heard. Last week, Sunday,
Uh-huh.
someone who we work with together,
Yeah.
Forbidden.
yeah.
I was at a friend's house. He was designing some stuff for me, and
Yeah.
I called Michael,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Have you seen the story?" Apparently, and I mean, we haven't got the full story, but
Yeah.
it made me think about so many other things. Was AKA's
Yeah. Hey, that was sad.
what
Yeah,
a
that
situation.
Yeah,
That
that's
one's
sad
sad.
news, man. You know, like man, condolences to
Oh.
AKA and his family.
mm.
Man, hey, you know, when someone just passes, it's a tragedy. You
It's-
know, like it's never expected. You know, so, but salute, man, salute to AKA. Much love to him and strength and the fiance's family. Yeah, it happened. I checked out as well during the week. I was like, what's going on? Yeah. The voice of God was like so disturbed by that news. So
One thing that really shook me this week was this bullying incident.
yeah.
I just it really.
Hey, tell me about it. I sorry, I've been in
Yeah.
a tunnel. What happened?
It's this young lady from Limpopo,
Oh, I saw it. I saw.
and she was bullied by a
I think her name is Lefono.
Lufuno.
Okay,
Yeah,
but tell
yeah.
me about the whole story.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's talk about
as
it.
far as we could see on the video footage,
Mm.
she was slapped
Mhm.
repeatedly in front of other friends,
Okay.
and she was really attacked, and it was a vicious sight to have seen that.
Mhm.
And I also come from a community where bullying
Mm.
is a problem, so I know what it is to be bullied from. I was bullied at school, and that's why I was forced also into having to defend yourself, be through a knife or through a gun. But bullying forces people to behave in those manners, and unfortunately, and so it was just something that really touched me
Yeah.
to have seen this incident, because it took me back to when I was at school, growing up in El Dorado Park. Bullying, and bullying is not just in our community right at this moment.
Yeah.
It's not just amongst young men,
Yeah.
young girls.
Yeah.
Adults are bullying people,
Mm.
Yeah.
and bully is becoming a culture in our communities, and that really rubbed me up the wrong way.
So did the young girl, has she passed or was
Yeah,
it?
she committed suicide.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
joking.
Yeah,
Hey, bruh.
because
Hey,
just
bruh.
yeah, so that was
Yeah,
what made
I
it.
think from that incident, she just went into depression and just
Yeah,
took her life.
so
Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
it was
you
just
know?
an ugly.
Yeah.
And like bullying, it's such a tough one for me.
Yeah.
So like you said, you're from El Dorado Park.
Mm.
You were raised there. You said that you feel like it's a problem there. Were you raised in Eldos?
Yeah, I was raised in Elders. I grew up, strange enough, I grew up in 3 communities: El Dorado Park,
Okay.
Enadale,
Okay.
and in some instances, Esteras as well. So I know the people that live in my community. I know the culture, and I've seen bullying takes all types of shapes in our community.
So
Yeah.
you know what, when I have, for me, the way I like to do it is, can you maybe paint a picture for me when you're saying your community? Tell me from your perspective, because I don't want to try and pretend I know the world. I grew up where I grew up, which is the northern suburbs of Johannesburg, which is a very protected life. So when you say your community and Eldos, what's Eldos like? And I'd rather hear it from somebody who's actually from Eldos,
Yeah.
not some journalist who's trying to sell a story to the
Yeah.
media. What when you say Eldos, what is it actually like to live there as just a person, anyone? If I'm a mother with 2 kids, what is it actually like in Eldos?
You know, El Dorado Park has some decent people living in our community. Some educated people, some fools.
Yeah.
Some very affluent people.
Yeah.
Some educated people.
Mhm.
Some very ignorant racists.
Mm.
Some very religious people.
Yeah.
Some very devout Christians.
Mhm.
There's a mixed bag of. We're not a homogenous group. We are very diverse people with diverse cultures and a potpourri of flavors. So, what you'd find in Alexandra, in Soweto, you'd find in El Dorado Park. We are in the same mess that's called poverty.
Mhm.
So you can just imagine what comes out of that communities. So I don't think we're different from any other community, other than that we are mixed, of mixed origin, of
Yeah.
mixed race, but we've got the same problems. We have corrupt people in our community.
Mm.
You have corrupt people in your community.
Everywhere.
You have poor young people in your community, abject poverty. You have the rich people in your community.
Mhm.
So we're not different. It's just that I think the fear of the unknown. I think people need to take time to get to know each other, get to know other cultures, and you may find that we've got so many similarities,
Mhm.
and that's what it is. Growing up in El Dorado Park, is that we are used to diversity. We are used to being different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's no different.
So you know what? I also don't. Yeah, that's
That
just
was just
no.
yeah.
Come on, that's you need to clip that as a
He
sermon.
painted a picture.
That's a sermon.
Yeah.
You could put that on
yeah.
and just have that be the billboard for.
Mm.
I mean, the way you put it so well. But I also, I don't know. You know, sometimes being from where I'm from, and forbidden you can come in here, is that
Yeah.
sometimes we talk, because so my family's from rural South Africa, both sides. Just my parents were unique and they got out and they got educated. But sometimes we talk about poverty like it's something in a book. You know, you speak of poor people like they're data.
Mhm.
You know, like being poor is a very real thing.
Thing.
You're like you don't say poor people generally, and you don't. We theorize about poverty, and it's like nobody ever. I guess if you where I'm from is sometimes it's almost you can deal with it at arm's length, so it's theoretical. You know, what you're talking about is you are in it, man, and I do sometimes wonder is, you know. I never want to say because somebody's poor, I want to have lower expectations for them. Because if some of the stuff you're telling me about the bullying and you were bullied when you were younger, if they lived in the northern suburbs, I'd have a problem for it. What do you think when people say because you're poor, it's more likely that you'll be some of the things you've said, bullying, violent, exposed to these things? Do you think, I don't think it's necessarily true. I think we again treating it a little bit like you know, like theoretical, like these are things in a book we can experiment with, but poor people are real people with real problems, and I don't know how to even approach some of the things that you've opened up here. And it's so interesting to me that you're willing to be as honest as you're being, that you were saying there's bullying in your community, there's that kind of stuff. Do you think poverty is like a part of the reason that bullying you feel like is happening in your area, or do you think there's just problems within all of us?
You know, I look at some of the young men and women that I've grown up with at school, and they were bullying me, and they have children now, and that's the cycle.
Ish.
So their kids are bullies.
Their kids are bullies, because, and it's not because they necessarily. It's just that they grew up in this system where there was, I mean, single parent homes are real in our communities. A mother dates a guy that looks after her, pays for her rent. She dates a guy that perhaps has his own toxic ways, but he's a provider in some sense, and he's exposed to that child, and he hits his girlfriend, and he has toxic male tendencies that he displays around the man child. And I think poverty contributes to that in some sense.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not an expert.
No, hey,
But
you are more of an expert than any professor in Harvard. You live in Aldous.
Yeah.
So so now this child grows up, and you know, there's no proper counsel, there's no proper guidance, there's nobody a frame of reference to tell you that this behavior is not normal. This shouting and screaming is not normal.
Yeah.
And I have the benefit of having grown up in a family where my parents were married for 33 years when she died in 2008. One thing, we've always had a stable home, always clean. My father was he's a disciplinarian, he's still alive.
Yeah.
And it helped me in some way.
Yeah.
But I've seen friends, I've seen the homes that they come from, and I can see how poverty has in some way, shape or form contributed to that behavior. And poverty is real. But I also have seen instances, friends of mine who comes out of those homes, families, single parent homes, where they have thrived, and they have beaten the odds, I suppose, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry to enter there. So you're saying it's then we shouldn't blame poverty, because like you're saying now, there's people from your area who thought out of the box and got out.
I don't know if I don't want to say we shouldn't blame it.
Not
but
to sound cynical,
yeah,
though.
but I just think poverty plays a huge role. I mean, poverty plays a huge role. I mean, and fortunately for me, I've been exposed. My father is a ANC stalwart, and he's always been around men that have gone to school, gone to university, that have spoken well, that have groomed themselves well. And I've seen that, and I've admired that, and I've gravitated towards that. So I think exposure could help in instances where poverty seems to be the exposure is the alternative to poverty. Sometimes exposure doesn't necessarily mean exposure to money, but just exposure to there is more to life. I guess I don't know.
And so I guess that the next thing for me becomes, because something that personally I'm very sensitive to, and just to give you a backdrop, like my mother worked in war zones for a very long time, right? But I know personally me, in school, because I was sports guy, and this is a whole different world. I don't want to even pretend these are the same worlds. But sports guy, on the front foot, traditional boys' school, so it was made for people like me. I was a bully in school, but I've only realized that when I'm older, you know, like I wasn't like physically beating people, but there's many ways to bully people. And I guess your bullying is like brutal hands on somebody, but I'm just, and I didn't come from a home, so my father has never laid a hand on either me or my sister, and my mother, like not even a thought of it, you know, and there's none of that I've ever been exposed to. I've never had violence. I don't have a violent sort of, my sister's not a violent person. My mother is the furthest thing from. So I have always been really interested in that kind of violence. I'm very, very sensitive to violence. And, you know, when you read some of the stats is poverty, violence. There's violence there.
Yeah.
You know. And how do you feel about that? About or is the violence what we read in the newspapers about elders and areas you've been in, or is it completely blown out of proportion? How much it happens, where somebody can die on the street corner and it's just another day.
Look,
and this is not to say Elders is a jungle, by the way. I'm just saying, is that the reality or?
No, look, Elders is a wonderful place. I love there.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got 2 family homes there.
Okay.
And we don't intend moving.
Mm-hmm.
I love the place. I love the people. I love everything about it. I'm investing money into it. We'll talk about what I'm investing in and that kind of thing. And but there is violence, and I think maybe I have become desensitized to the violence. I mean, a month or 2 months ago, we lost a friend. He was shot 16 times. We streamed his funeral, and it was. A week or few days after that, one of his friends was also shot.
Yeah.
And we sit in circles where we call it war stories. WAR.
Okay.
Not the other one.
Yeah.
So we sit in those circles where people talk about what happened, what really happened, where and how it went down, and you know it's a pastime for some of us, and we listen but it just goes to show it that we're so used to it, you know.
Yeah.
We're so used to violence and but I don't think that characterizes the community of El Raropa.
Yeah.
I was listening to a show on 94.7. One of these presenters were talking, what is the place that they should pay you to go and live at? You won't go and live there for free. What is the place locally or internationally?
Yes.
And I thought to myself, wow, I wouldn't want to stay in Mitchell's Plain, for example.
Yeah.
What the shooting that you see on it's like, is this really going on there?
It's like a TV game.
Yeah, you know, it's like this. Is this? I wouldn't wanna. I'm afraid, honestly, to go and live there. But I'm sure, because I spoke to a gentleman in the week that actually stays there.
Yeah.
But he's normal, so maybe he's also probably become desensitized to it.
Let me guess. Someone who called in was like, someone has to pay me to go live in El Dorado Park. Someone said it. I'm sure.
I think so. I'm sure.
Because what you're saying right now, you're saying you don't want to go live in Mitchell's Plain.
Yeah.
Because you see all the stories about Mitchell's Plain. You're like, and someone in Mitchell
was probably saying the same thing. But the point I'm trying to make is that yet the person that I've been speaking to in the week is a perfectly normal individual who lives a normal life. He's got a family.
Yeah.
So there are those people in our communities.
Yes.
Normal, functional, reasonable individuals
Yeah.
who are capable to put up regional conversations
Yeah.
and people who have emotions,
Yeah.
you know, that sometimes express it in a way that you are sometimes not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But these are human beings created in the Imago Dei.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, these, we are normal people
Mm-hmm.
from Mitchell's Plain, from El Dorado Park,
Uh-huh.
from Easterus,
Yeah.
Reveille.
Is it
Yeah.
not ridiculous that you have to say that?
Yeah.
But no, because obviously,
Yeah.
what the fact that you have to say it, it means. Do you get the feeling that? So let's explain. I mean, we've got viewers from different parts of the world. Is Johannesburg? I'm just going to use Johannesburg because Cape Town's a whole different beast.
Mm.
So Johannesburg is split up into sectors, right? You get the north of Johannesburg. I'm not for one for PC culture. That's where the yuppies live.
Yeah.
It's very yuppie, very snobby. I live in and around them. So that's their reputation, right? You go to the West Rand, it's more industrial, old school. They get your stuff done there. You know. You go to the East Rand. It's
Same.
Yeah.
I'm from the East Rand.
Yeah.
Shout out the East Rand.
Industrial. It's got a
Yeah.
bit of a reputation. Lolly
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Some of the Mavericks that have,
Yeah.
you know, Kracher. For those of you can go and look up Kracher. So
Yeah.
the East Rand has its own reputation for business is done differently in the East Rand, but
Yeah.
but it's also industrial, highly industrial. Of course, in the apartheid times, built lots of factories. If you go, if you go out there, then you go to the south of Johannesburg, and that's you know, to somebody from the north. It's just like I get to Alberton, and you know, for us,
That's the furthest.
told no, that's too far.
Yeah.
You must turn around. I just want to tell you, I'm giving people a broad kind of outlook, right?
Yeah.
And the south is just a different beast, right?
Yeah.
So to you, are you thinking people in the north think it's impossible for people from Eldos to just be normal? That they're just violent animals, or
Yeah.
you think that's how people think?
I can't think for people,
Mm.
but I am sometimes surprised
Mm.
with how people expect you to behave.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I think the stereotyping really gets to me.
Yeah.
And what is that stereotype from your opinion?
There are many, there are many. And they had this thing about reminds me of can anything good come out of Nazareth?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
Can anything good come out of Nazareth?
Well,
Can
Kaiser
it-
Chief came out of.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
can anything good come out of El Dorado Park? Yes, there are lots.
Yeah.
So the stereotypes of it's okay. I've grown a thick skin. I've learned to I've just grown a thick skin, and the offense can sometimes be a distraction. I think because you are going to be called. You are going to be called.
This is not a kids show, by the way. You can say any words you like. This is,
No,
this
it's
is not
fine.
television.
But and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Why should I use profanity when I address you?
Yeah.
Sure.
Nothing. Why do you expect
Yeah. Yeah.
curse
yeah.
words to come out of my mouth?
Yeah.
No, I actually.
You see what I'm saying?
There are sometimes terms.
So some
terms.
people will think
Yes.
that I would use that kind of language when I address you, but no.
Yeah.
No.
Just because you're from
From El Dorado Park. So those
yeah.
kind of stereotypes.
Yeah.
You know, when in fact that's not what I'm about. That's not what we are about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just used to the stereotypes by now, and I always surprise people. You know,
When you say Nazareth, this guy comes out from there.
Yeah.
So he's James from Nazareth.
Mm.
That's synonymous to who, my man? Jay. Jay himself. Tell us more about what you do, because what you do is different.
Yeah. You are a.
Yeah.
You're a different beast. But hold on. Before he tells us about what he
Yeah.
does, I wanted to speak to you on something,
Yeah.
because you were onto something so interesting there. And I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
violence is such an interesting thing for me.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that violence is the language of the disenfranchised.
Yeah.
You know, we all know there's nothing more dangerous than somebody who has nothing to live for.
yeah,
If a man or woman has nothing to lose, they are, you know.
yeah.
And some of the things you've said to me there lead me to believe you care deeply about the people you're around. Otherwise, you wouldn't be saying the things you're saying. You know, you clearly, because you could just come here and say El Dorado Park is, you name your swear words, and we could be out of here, right, in 10 minutes. you're here, you clearly care about the people around you, you clearly believe in the people around you, and some of the things you've expressed. And I could see, it's so nice to have people back in the room. I'm sick of Zoom calls. I can't see how someone feels.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here next to you, I can see your eyebrows when you're talking about elders. I can see when you're talking about the offense you took. Like I can see your eyebrows moving. I see your cheeks when you really mean it. And I love it. It's so good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
So,
you, man.
but I want to talk about just the violence element. Again, I'm very sensitive to that. And do you have any children?
No,
Okay,
don't have
no,
children.
that's, and I mean, but we in communities, the next door neighbors' children are your children. Are you sensitive to violence, having been bullied early on in your life? How do you deal with confrontation, having suffered bullying in your own life?
it has been a process in my life. We've grown up with the first.
Really, eh?
Yeah, I've been stabbed many times.
Well, you get out of here.
I've stabbed someone as well, some people as well. So we grew up with the first. We've always grown up to defend yourself by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you must. Hey, that's the real world.
But it has been a process of unlearning for me, and having gone through, it's just unlearning, and my faith has helped me. My faith in Jesus Christ has helped me.
Yeah.
And listening to real men talk, and how to process anger, how to process rejection for me was one way of dealing with anger.
Yeah.
I had to deal with the fact of being rejected. That made me very angry, and it helped me to unlearn how to revolt against the rage in me. So it's a process. It's not something that it's not an on and off switch. I go to gym.
Oh,
Yeah.
you do have some guns. I saw your
Yeah.
shoulders. I'm like, this guy.
Yeah. I go to gym. And I have men in my life that are capable to call me to order, because you can't be your own. You need men in your life that can call you to order, to say, no, he's out of order, yay.
I got you.
Yeah, he's out of order, yay.
Yeah.
And he cannot see that anfari. You need that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
men in your
yeah,
life.
yeah.
And I think the young men of today don't have that. And I think for me, that was in the form of my father, my father's friends, some of my friends,
Yeah.
some of the men that I've been exposed to when I started working. When I started working in this industry, in the broadcast industry, when I started working in the technical side of it, when I started working with powerful men who have money. So you have to learn that sometimes violence and it's not the way to resolve it, because it's always going to be somebody that's tougher than you. There's always going to be somebody smarter than you.
Yeah.
And sometimes your fists and violence
Don't work.
won't work.
Can you give me an example of if I caught you 20 years ago, and whatever your example of rejection would be and how you deal with it, and bring me forward to now how you would deal with it? That's so. I have so much to ask you about that, but
Yeah.
I would love to know, because again, I can see you. I can see you right now, and honestly, like, I'm not an airy fairy person, but I can feel that you care. I can almost feel a heat across the table. No, I'm serious,
Yeah.
because it's important to me. So I tell
Yeah.
you, in my 20s, right,
Yeah.
I was such a lost child. I was lost, and I was sleeping on friends' couches.
Hey, man.
When I came back, so I lived overseas for a while, and I came back, and my life fell apart. Right, I don't want to bore you with any details, but essentially a football career fell apart, and I drank myself into a stupor in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I reached the stage, and my parents are great. Both my parents are great. I'm so lucky to have a home, and my sister's great. They all just wanted me to come home, but I was so lost. And one of the things that keeps me centered today, I mean, I'm not a billionaire, but now I can afford to, have food in my fridge and relatively stable. I'm 34th, stabilizing. But in my 20s, you couldn't tell me anything, and everything was someone else's fault. And I was fine. I mean, you're telling me a situation, and you're telling me like, that's a whole different situation. I was so angry at everyone. you couldn't tell me anything. As soon as even the people who loved me tried to tell me something, I'm gone. Like I am get out of my.
You were
Oh.
hothead.
Are you
My
kidding
man.
me? Get away from me! And I was enraged at everyone, and
Yeah.
I realized, so my big trauma point, like my parents are divorced, right? But both my parents, great, and I'm not just saying it.
Yeah.
My father's strict guy, but down the line, provider, never absent. I never lacked for anything. But my dad was such a hero for me. The trauma of being away from him in the divorce, I didn't realize that was causing me trauma until my late 20s and 30s, when I started to think about this and talk to people and realize that a man who was my hero, it's like, because you can't contextualize it as a 6-year-old, So for me, I'd love to know, back then, would you just be rage and then it comes out and you explode, and it sounds like you're in this process where you now, I don't know if you're using some techniques to, if it is a situation enrages you, to step away. Like just give me a timeline. Back in the day, how would you have dealt with let's say I come to you and as young men how we are, I try and test you, because guys will test you, right?
Yeah.
How would you have dealt with it now versus then versus now? I'd love to know. Because if you came to me at 20, bro, you were gonna know. Hey, in school, boarding school, this guy here. Oh, are you kidding me?
Join the club.
Oh,
you
you
were all hot-headed.
Oh, I was throwing fists early as well. I was throwing fists. Like you, if you look at me in the eyes, and I think you're trying to test me, we on.
My man,
And I've never been big.
yeah.
You can see you could break my arm with 2 fingers right now. I'm a twig.
Back in your 20s.
So if you don't mind me asking,
Let's go back.
I'd love to hear when you were at your red hot, like, and then I'm testing you. I'm coming to you, and I'm like, okay, let's see what this guy thinks
Hey,
he's got
Mbulelo.
something.
So, okay, all right. Just come at me like, just say, yeah, bad.
Hey, bruh. Was my medi?
Want,
Yeah.
you can many. Yay.
Hey, bruh. Was my medi? Then you go crazy, I'm sure, from there.
I'm sure on another day I would have probably done justice to this, but
You've gone soft, dude. You've gone soft. You're a teddy bear now.
yeah, it's like I don't even have the energy anymore to.
You're more wiser right now.
It actually,
Basically.
you've actually burnt out the motherboard.
Yeah.
Maybe with one hand or 2 Hennessy's,
Yeah,
perhaps,
yeah.
a different day.
Yeah, different
Yeah.
reply.
But
Yeah.
it's like, jy moet nie kak gewond raak nie. hoor.
Yeah.
Wat? Jy moet nie fucking kak gewond. Ek sê, "Hey. Hey. Ja, want jy moet nie. Ek sal vang en los jy." hoor.
Serious?
Ja.
Hey, but like colored accent is so like
No, but hey,
intimidating. Mfana.
I should have worn adult nappies. I was about to. Hey, that was for real. So
Yeah, dude, like.
you wouldn't be messed with, huh?
Yeah, it's because it's a defense mechanism.
No, I hear you, dude.
It's like
Yeah.
it's tough on the streets.
No,
man.
hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can nie.
That's why you're here
you
now.
kan nie
Huh?
moeg is en lam is en slaap op jou.
Yeah.
Jy moet tough is en and I used to use my head a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, the headbutt.
Yeah,
headbutt.
So ek sal jy.
Yeah. The headbutt's a classic because no one ever sees that
because
coming.
nobody sees it coming. So if you
Shout out to Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah,
06.
so
Salute.
if you're in my proximity, if you're in my space,
Shout out
if you're in
Zizi.
my space, you're in my space. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Dinky.
Yeah.
2 minutes, ek wag hom net, en sê kom aan sê, what you gonna eat?
Hey,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So that was a different time. I
Yeah,
mean,
that was a
like now
different
you are just there's nothing right now. I met you earlier. There is nothing about you right now that I'm just like, here's this
Yeah,
warm
no, it's
human being who
because,
wants to.
Because I've been transformed internally, and like I said, man, you know what? I am not, and this is I'm not. I still drink. I party, and I'm not saved. I'm not a saved Christian, but I think His Spirit that has worked in me has helped me to unlearn and outgrow a lot of things. And I think a lot of my growth has to do with as rejection has caused me a lot of pain, but rejection was also necessary for me to become the man I am today.
Yeah.
I think closed doors sometimes lead to destiny. and closed doors usually is synonymous with rejection. And I think it really helped me to really transform into the man that you see here today. So there's nothing that I can say that as that is of my own doing.
And when you're saying rejection from family, you felt like you were never good enough.
Well, yeah, rejection in relationships,
Yeah.
rejection in jobs, rejection in having and wanting an opportunity and you being denied that opportunity, rejection from not always fitting in, rejection from just rejection.
Yeah, I got you across
Yeah,
the board.
you know, and it sometimes is a course correction. You know, I was at Bible school, and I wrote great essays, excellent essays. I think one of my New Testament professors, I wrote a sermon about because we had to do a essay around looking at a cross, looking at Mark, Luke, and Matthew, and then we had to, but it was an essay at the same time. It was a sermon, and he said to me, "You write well. Your thoughts are very well laid down on paper."
Yeah.
I was so convinced that I'm going to be a preacher, that I've been called
Hey.
to be Muruti base.
Yeah.
And that from that teacher was
Tell them,
and
Father.
that confirmation from that teacher was like, yeah, this you're on the right path here, you know, this is you. But when I went into the exams, I failed. I passed Old Testament very, very well. I got a distinction, but New Testament and
It whooped you, eh?
it whooped me.
Yeah,
it whooped
straight up.
me.
That's J. Christ right there, man.
It whooped me.
That's
very,
when Jesus came in, hey?
Yeah.
Hey, that's
so
that's
it whooped
tough.
me very
He had
bad.
12 friends.
But after that, things just went horribly wrong. I lost my job. For some strange reason, I never found myself going back to seminary. But I really thought this was it for me, that I'm a preacher man. But it was just when I turned 40. So it was so significant for me because it was also a time when I really found out, you know what, you were never called for this. You may love the word, you may even know how to teach the word, but you were not called to preach the word. So it was a course correction, that rejection.
Yeah.
You
Law
know,
had that.
I needed to be told that you be rejected, and sometimes that rejection, it just gets funky. Where you at, things just start getting funky. A job just gets funky. You just find out for all of a sudden things that you've been doing for all your life, and you know how to do it well. Just for some strange reason, it falls apart, and you get rejected, and you get onto the right path. And now I'm in media,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm loving it,
Mm.
and I'm progressing, and
Hey.
I'm with wonderful people like Mike
Yeah.
and
Don't
I'm-
forget Forbidden.
and Forbidden. And,
Yeah.
Of course, that's a given.
and Shu. So now I'm doing something different because of the rejection that I've experienced. Now I'm actually doing the thing that I'm actually loving, that I'm actually good at,
Yeah.
and that I actually think that yes, I was called for this.
My man, this guy is good.
This guy's crazy, bro.
My man.
This is some
No, he will tell you what he does, and the people will hear.
you know what I love him is nothing's possible without hope. And you know, again, those narratives, the stereotypes you were talking about earlier, is if you're telling somebody your story, especially the rage, that's going to be something that's associated with where you're from in Eldos, is for the fact that, you know, a long time ago there was a guy called René Descartes, an interesting guy. He said cogito ergo sum. That's what his favorite is for.
I am therefore I what?
Or I think therefore I am.
yeah.
So that guy.
Yeah.
So his philosophy is called Cartesian thinking, and he has this very, very interesting model, right? Where he basically in his language said back then only men, and by then obviously it meant white dudes, can not only suffer trauma, right? But in his model he was saying women and men are different in this way. Women can only experience trauma, but they stay in the trauma. This was obviously how long ago? When was Descartes? 1640s, right? But he said men are special because men can experience, right, process, and then overcome trauma, which was an unbelievably narrow-minded thing.
Yeah.
But, it's 250 years ago. But there is a sort of Cartesian kind of thinking from people that stereotype you to go, oh, well, he's from Aldo's. The trauma is his life, and then he'll stay there and end there. And here you are saying, no. I was the rage that you think you stereotype us as. You processed it. And it's interesting that you are now able, you know, trauma sometimes, it's so hard to talk about it. It can be a prison. But here you are laying it out so articulately, dude. And you should be, without trying to sound condescending, you should be so proud of that. You should be so proud of that because I can only imagine some of the things you've told me is that's what you're seeing every day. And when you see things, it becomes, you almost go and live out that archetype. It's like, if people tell you something 1,000 times, if people tell you, if you're from Aldo's, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be this.
Yeah.
If I tell you something enough times, eventually you're going to act it out.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
So you should be so proud of just living it out. That is, I live with these kids whose parents have far too much money, and they can't even transcend a little rejection at work. And he's got the latest BMW that his mommy buys for him. And I don't mean it in a condescending way, and I hope it doesn't come across that way. But that is awesome on your part. That is really, really awesome.
Thank you, man.
And you're just getting started.
Yeah. You're just getting
Hey,
started.
let's be.
I think this is the most craziest intro. Now everybody just knows where Malcolm is from.
Hey, Malcolm, that's crazy, dude.
Ooh, this is the best intro.
I'm telling you that's a real life thing because
Yeah.
you know what I love about the way Malcolm talks as well.
Yeah.
Often people will come and tell their story and it's the same thing, right? I'm a victim. But no, he's telling you this is what happened. This is what I did about it.
Yeah.
So he's like, obviously it's hard to come out of what you've come out of.
Yeah.
But he's saying this is what happened. This is where I am now. Not I'm a victim of my situation. And all that says, I'm not saying some people are victims in life. Like poverty is hard.
Yeah.
I also,
hard, man.
but for you to transcend, it means it's possible, dude. As long as something's possible,
Yeah.
I just feel like there has to be,
To get out.
and it's exciting for me because there'll be another kid who's watching you, and you were 20. For now, they'll say Malcolm thinks he's better than people, but actually he's watching Malcolm getting up on time every day.
Yeah.
Okay, now Malcolm's pitching up on time. Next thing, Malcolm's never around. Where is he? Oh, no. He's out working, maybe, I don't know, wherever you're doing your jobs.
Yeah.
Your kids in your community they'll, where's Malcolm? Where's that guy who thinks he's better than us?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's out working. Hey, what? 2 weeks goes, you're away on work. You come back. Where were you? Somebody will see that. There's a 20-year-old that will see that. And I can't thank you enough on their behalf because they'll never thank you, but I can't thank you for that 20-year-old who's watching, bro.
Yeah.
And like the thing, and I'm sure that sometimes it's thankless, right? Well, it sounds like what you're doing it's so deep in your spirit. It's a thankless task. You're not doing it for money. You're not doing for.
But I think it's also good because excuse me, because it's, I don't know. I don't want it to sound preachy.
Sure.
I don't want to sound preachy, but I think it's so important if you want to serve people that you have to you're gonna be used if you serve people. That's
100%.
Unfortunately that's gonna happen. You're gonna be used because you are a tool. What do we do with tools? We use tools.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be used.
Well said.
So at some point you're gonna have to be comfortable with being used. And it can be lonely at times because some people in your life are not in your life because they are in your life because they honestly love your company, love your jokes, as dry as they are. but they are really just there to use you. And that can be lonely sometimes. But that's the thing about being in service, being a tool. It can be a thankless job, but it's good because it keeps you grounded, because it sometimes helps you from smelling your own perfume.
I hear you.
Because when people start clapping too many hands for you and people start praising you, you forget why and why you're working, what are you doing. You forget, you lose focus. Remember, we were created in the imago Dei, the image of God. And for those of us who believe in Christ, we know that God loves to be worshipped. And if we were created in His image, don't you think we would love to be worshipped as well?
Sure.
Because we were created in His image,
hear-
so we
I
have
see what you're saying.
attributes of Him.
I hear you.
So it's important that we do not get worshipped too much, too many hand claps for you, because then you lose to say why you're doing what it is you're doing.
That's hey, that's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
We see it each and every
see it,
single
it's,
day. People go into,
Yeah.
they say they're going into service for the people.
Yeah.
You know, we call them politicians in this country,
Yeah.
just for example. But they're not just them.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a CEO, you're actually in service of people. They forget that.
Yeah.
Moms and dads, they
Moms and
forget
dads in
that.
service of people.
And again, you get the big German car. You start to live in a certain suburb.
yeah.
You forget it's not about you. You're not special. You know, and again, it's thankless. You know, but that's hard. That's hard. And before we move on to the great things you're doing, for you know, forbidden, something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think this might be linked to some of the stuff we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So something that's been on my mind a lot. You know.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, in my troubled, yeah, you know, whatever. It's a process,
Days.
right? Is drinking was a big thing for me, right?
Yeah.
And I've read a lot on addiction, and I have a mother who's actually an expert when it comes to addiction. Literally did a doctorate on it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we've spoken about it a lot now in my adult years, right? So my thing was the drinking for me, all of the things that I knew, because I've got family standards. I knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
18, I ran away from home to go to the UK. I knew I'd let down my internal family standards. My mother's got standards and has been nothing but loving to me. But for me, the coping mechanism was the alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I speak to people now, when people ask me about it, I'm very comfortable, is that alcohol for me, I never liked the taste. I never did. I'm not really a social guy. So I
Yeah.
never liked the partying. But it was a great place for me to hide
Mm-hmm.
from the man that I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I could hide from, come on, pitch up at school, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my family's worked too hard for me to be a drunkard sleeping on people's couches.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in such a cycle,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was in such a dark hole. And addiction is such an interesting thing to me, because the more and more I read about it and the more I speak about my thing, the way I think about it is we often speak of addiction. Of course, drugs is the big one in our country, especially when you're poor, there's
Yeah.
drugs around, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're in a poor area. And for me, the addiction thing was, if we're just going to talk about drugs and alcohol, I've surmised it to this. And this is just my theory. I don't think of the addiction as a thing on its own. I think a lot of drugs and drinking is people self-medicating.
Mm-hmm.
I've never,
Yeah.
because in our society, we just say, that useless one on drugs.
Yeah.
That guy, that drinker. But you know, and the thing is, drugs are here with the rich people and their 3 German cars.
Yeah.
If it was just the useless people, surely it would just be poor people who aren't working that would
Yeah.
be taking drugs.
Mm.
But actually, what I've always thought was,
Everybody.
we need to be very careful with this thing.
Mm.
Is that no. In some places, we don't have a drug problem. We have a poverty problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually, I know the kids who can afford cocaine,
Yeah.
right? I know where they live in Cape Town. I know where they live in Johannesburg. So don't tell me that only poor people have a drug problem, which is where I thought about it a little deeper.
Mm.
Is how I thought you were supposed to just get a big house, get the supermodel girlfriend, and
Yeah.
you're supposed to be fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lie,
Mm.
because all of those people are snorting coke up their nose.
Mm.
So that's a lie. And the more I've thought about it, people are self-medicating.
Yeah.
And people are lonely.
Yeah.
The human soul is not meant to be lonely, but forbidden. We were talking about addiction the other time, and you were asking me, and you never actually finished asking me, because I said we must talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
addiction on here. What was your actual full question?
Like-
And Malcolm, I'm happy for you to jump in after.
In
Forbidden.
anything, like for me, it's like addiction. It's not about drugs. It's not about. For me, it's something that you struggle to deal with, that you're addicted with
Sure.
or on.
Yeah.
Or So I was asking him, how do you deal with your addiction? Whether it could be sex, could
Yeah.
be porn, could be too much drinking, too much TV.
Work. People get
Work.
addicted to work. Yeah.
Work is a drug as well.
Yep.
So I was asking. My point was, how do you deal with your addiction? Because addiction is It's very strong. It could kill a person.
It's a real thing. And
Yeah.
Malcolm, let me give my answer.
Every person has an addiction.
Oh, we all have our vices.
Yeah, let's agree on that.
We all have our vices.
Yeah.
No, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
This is everyone when they're talking or they give a seminar, everyone's perfect, right?
Yeah.
You know where everyone's perfect? On Twitter. Everyone's perfect.
Yeah, everybody.
Oh,
Instagram.
Oh,
Woo, that's
Malcolm,
heaven.
how could you do that? How could you say,
Yeah.
how could you do 99 good things and say that one mistake?
Stupid thing.
Oh,
Let's cancel him.
we are perfect. Everyone
Yeah.
is so sanctimonious
Yeah.
on Twitter. But let me give you my answer before Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm, you're going to have a lot to address there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the one thing that I am on a path towards, to
Yeah.
answer your question for
Yeah.
on the overcoming addiction.
Addiction.
Number one, on the alcohol thing, just to make, and I don't know if you're asking specifically about having quit drinking, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you about
Yeah.
how the drinking thing stopped for me.
Yeah.
Number one for me
Yeah.
was a lady said to me who I valued. Her name's Kathy van Blerk.
Yeah.
She said to me, and I hadn't heard these words in a long time, and I was at the bottom of my bottom. She said to me, a mother is only as happy as their unhappiest child. So that hit me so hard. And I respected this lady. And she was the first person in a long time who actually looked at me like I was valuable, because in all of my behavior, I'd started to alienate the people that loved me, that were my friends. And you can only lie so many times to go and sleep on somebody's couch, right? Eventually people are just like, nah, we're not doing that. Don't come here. But eventually this woman looked at me, and she's wealthy, and but she's my friend's mother, and she said to me, a mother is only as happy as their unhappiest child. And that changed my life forever, and I tell her every time I speak to her. But eventually where I am now is, for me, a huge thing is emotional discipline. Everything is about discipline. And for me, discipline is about how much are you willing to give up the things that you want.
Yeah.
So if you want something the most,
Yeah.
are you willing to give that up?
Yeah.
And for me, eventually it became so crystal clear. It's my mother or alcohol. And then I'm a big ego guy. I think I can. So then I challenged myself, and I said, you keep saying you're this guy. You want to be this big man. You cannot make your mother unhappy. My mother killed herself to give me the life I had. My father killed himself. They're both from rural South Africa. Emotional discipline is everything for me now. It is absolutely everything. So for me, how I overcame it was, you need to crystallize what's important. And for me, my process is, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
My mother and my sister are everything. It is them or alcohol.
Yeah. For you. Yeah.
Then it's clear.
Yeah.
Then
It's
it's
clear what
Oh.
you choose.
it's
Yeah.
one has to go, because when I was the alcohol, my mother said come home, but I couldn't. The shame.
Yeah. Of you drinking.
So then I was clear. I don't want to be shamed in front of my own mother
Yeah.
who sweat. No. So for me, it was so clear. But now, as I live and breathe now, emotional discipline is everything to me. I will sacrifice things to get what I want. But I'm crystal clear now. There are certain things that will not, and there are certain people who are not allowed near me.
Yeah.
Because, and for me now, you know what discipline leads to?
Yeah.
And people always ask me, when you stopped drinking, did you have to stop hanging out with certain people?
Yeah.
I said, no.
Yeah.
They just fell off,
Yeah.
because now they can see that I'm not about that.
Yeah, you're not about that.
So they just fell off because I was serving a need in their lives as well. Oh, there's the party guy, even if he's a bit of a scabaresh.
Yeah.
When you disciplined, people fall off. Because hey, we're all broken inside.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm still. It's a process, right?
Yeah.
But when you start to search for what's inside of you, which is what I'm still doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's clear to me, whoever you are, I don't care what you have to say. Am I the son I want to be? Right? That's number one.
Yeah.
Am I the brother I want to be?
Yeah.
And am I the man I want to be for myself?
Yeah.
The rest is icing.
Yeah. Cherry on top.
And it's hard, eh?
Yeah.
It's hard because I work in the media. There's stuff out here.
One paragraph from you on addiction?
Man, I haven't. At one point, my life was spiraling out of control with drinking.
Yeah.
I've never had a narcotics problem.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe a 420.
Yeah.
But that's a holy herb. That's a holy herb. That's a holy herb. Yeah.
I didn't
Some
say
vitamins. Yeah. No, it's vitamins.
Okay,
It's vitamins. Yeah.
but never narcotics as in hard drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kind of thing. I one time my life spiraled out of control with alcohol, but it was because I was projecting. I was projecting my inadequacies. I was in a relationship. A woman, I was in a relationship with a real good woman, and I wasn't living my best life. You know, and there was more to me, and I drowned it with alcohol. Because and I projected it on my relationship, and finally I got out of the relationship. In fact, I was ejected.
She had enough.
Yeah,
She had enough, Chief.
yeah. So, and I lost her. So then I realized that what, I'm projecting, and the alcohol kind of helps me to camouflage or hide or drown of my inadequacies as a man or
Yeah.
in areas of my life.
Yeah.
And I just stopped it for a year. For a year, I stopped drinking,
Okay.
just so that I can sort out what was going on in my mind. We have in our family, we have a history of mental illness. There are people in our family
Yeah.
that have mental illnesses.
Yeah.
So I had to come off the alcohol
Yeah.
so that I can really figure out what was happening up here.
Yeah.
Was there a mental illness developing,
Mhm.
or was it just my, because I'm a very excited individual.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited. I'm very anxious, and I've got a high temperament. I don't know. I
No.
can't get to.
Hey,
I can't get to.
No, you got the juice.
Yeah. So, but so I thought, is it the alcohol that's making me behave in this manner, or am I naturally like this? So I had to cut it out and see the way I'm feeling and behaving. Is it really because I'm normal, or has the alcohol influenced it? So that is the extent of my addiction, was alcohol.
Yeah.
I
Likewise.
had to stop it for a year, and but I think in El Dorado Park, addiction is really, really bad, and there are people working on it, the local drug action committee. But I think my role, excuse me, the role that I want to play in the fight against drugs is probably to do what it is I'm doing, is to use my platform Eldo's TV, to give young people a uitgang clip, a way to release that energy, like with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I read a book by Dr. Carla Hennenford. She's a clinical psychologist. The book's called Why Learning is Not Just in the Mind, but learning is a whole body experience.
Yeah.
So when I started going to gym, I was kind of able to, all that energy, all that excitement, excluding the alcohol, and I could, and then I realized that, what, so this thing about addiction is also a whole body experience.
I agree.
Learning, there's so much into it. So I think what I'm going to do with this exposure that I've had, with the people that I've in my life, clinical psychologists, I want to get programs on TV and activities in the community that would help young people process the energy and the excitement and the anxiety and all this, because they are flooded with information. There's a overload of information. So young people don't know what is what anymore. I'm an adult of 42, and sometimes I get confused because there's so much going on.
There is.
There's so much and so many opinions, and I think young people don't have the mechanisms to help them to deal with this new fourth industrial age. So so I think that is what I want to do. And I think that is what I've been called to do.
Aldo's TV.
Eldo's TV.
So Forbidden, before we get into it, so you, I mean, when you ask a question of that magnitude, surely there was something else on your mind.
Yeah.
Is there something you in terms of addiction you are going through, or is it just you were just seeing things out there?
I also have an addiction.
We all do.
Yeah, I also have an addiction, and this addiction, man. I had a. Oh, sorry, guys. Can you? I'm sure you guys can hear me now. Sorry. I had an addiction of. You're gonna laugh.
No, what?
Falling in love, and in that falling in love, the pornyakos happen. When you hit. So I had this addiction of falling in love.
Wow.
Once I fall out of love, I leave the girl, I find another one. And that's another life. I'm serious, guys.
Well,
I am serious.
You've blindsided me here.
I am serious. This is deep.
No, this is for real.
I'm still struggling with this thing. But like now that I'm older, I can handle it. I had this addiction of
wanting to be in a relationship.
Yeah, wanting when a relationship is new.
Yeah, so you like that feeling.
I loved that
the
feeling.
Pheromones that are created.
The butterflies.
Yeah, man.
And
phoning each other at 11 o'clock at night.
In that state of mind, sex comes in.
I got you.
And now you're no longer addicted to love. You become addicted to sex.
I'm with you.
Yeah. And now because I'm addicted to falling in love, once the honeymoon phase ends, the relationships fights come in. Now I need something new.
I'm with you.
I was a young man. So now as I grew older, I started saying, but yeah, you need to focus on yourself more than love yourself. I think I wanted to love so I was addicted to that, giving out love. And, then sex came in. And sex is good, but like not too much. Too much of it.
Too much of anything will kill. But let me, were you, do you think now that you're looking at it, is it still something you're going through now? Do you still?
No, I think I've outgrown it. I've outgrown it because, in my 20s, it was just that, like, I would fall in love with a girl. We'd be in love. Serious relationship. Honeymoon phase.
How long was the phase? Like 6 months?
I could say, yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
To be on honeymoon.
me, I love.
So you perpetually, you were just in and out of relationships.
Yes. In my
Sure,
20s. But because of love, for me, it was like, yes, I just want this new thing. I want something new. I want someone new. I hated having to break up with someone. I hated it.
Yeah, that's tough.
It was tough.
Do you think did you like the feeling of loving somebody or somebody loving you?
I loved the feeling of loving someone.
That is so interesting.
And then it would leave 8 months, 10 months down the line, 12 months down the line. Now I'm fighting with the person. Now, straight after breaking up, I'm looking for someone else.
And did you have a certain type? Like some people.
Oh, my boys know what my favorite. My boys know my type.
The guys know. Okay, but personality. Let's move away. Did you have like some people will go looking for a violent type of person or like somebody who's exciting or somebody who's depressive.
Yeah.
Some people want to go and save somebody. So did you have a type like that, or were you just all about the superficial?
For me, it was just.
What do you look like?
Yeah. If you look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really have type. You need to have your own car. You need to live there, or you need to treat me like this. As long as you look good, and I would not. I think that would kill me a lot. That would just derail me because I'd fall in love with just another girl who is just.
Because there's a new 21-year-old in a short skirt. They're coming out every year of universities. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it was really tough for me, bro.
But then
coming up,
it's interesting that you're saying you were in love with making. So
falling in love.
Were you treating other?
I was addicted.
Were you treating girls better than you treat yourself? Would you say?
Yeah.
Now,
look,
that's interesting.
I'm a lover. Like I would love. But like I wanted something not to end, and obviously with relationships, honeymoon phase always ends. It always gets there. It always gets to that point where you wake up in the morning, you're like, yeah, now it's you again. Yeah. It's you again. So, but now you wake up in the morning, you're like, hey, yeah, nah. You know, so
But this is real stuff.
it's real stuff. People might laugh, but like,
No,
it's-
this is not funny. I mean,
Yeah.
once we lose love, listen, it's an important thing. But
Yeah.
the interesting thing for me, and I think we're similar, is, in my party days,
Yeah.
one thing I realized about myself is
Yeah.
I was always interested in putting the show on for them.
Yeah.
I didn't care how I felt. I didn't care
Yeah.
how drinking
Yeah.
10 tequilas in a row.
Yeah.
I got more of a kick.
Yeah.
And eventually, the more I thought about it, was like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this for them? Who are these people?
Yeah.
What hole am I trying to fill by trying to find love in these people? Who
Yeah.
are these people?
Yeah. Yeah.
And eventually, now, the problem with my personality type as well, and it was interesting, Malcolm, you spoke of the mental illness in your family. So
Yeah.
another thing I really looked into is my mother's lost 2 brothers through drug addiction, right?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, listen, yeah, guy, you need to get real with yourself. This thing's in your family. So I've got a very addictive personality, right?
Yeah.
It's for me, once I'm into something, I am into it.
Oof.
When I, like my running, I can't run 10Ks. I started running, I'm doing 250Ks.
Yeah.
Like when I'm into, so I can't do half.
Yeah.
And I've always been so glad I was never addicted to the taste of alcohol. That's when people are in trouble. And for you, I'm so glad maybe it was just fulfilling a gap inside. And I'm so glad the hooks weren't so deep, because
Yeah.
if that thing was real, you'd still be in it now.
Yeah.
Thank goodness
Yeah.
you broke that cycle.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Or are you still breaking it, or would you say you completely?
I would say I'm like 89%.
Eh, Modimo.
Yeah, I still love my
So there's
friend,
still
but like now there's maturity in it, and cautiousness into it now. Like I love, but like now it's okay. Yeah, stay there. I love you there.
But forbidden in that situation. And Malcolm, this can get dangerous, right?
Yeah.
If you treat people better than you treat yourself, do you think that might be a slippery slope? And if you're saying you were treating, you can almost make that a pattern. If you're saying that was your pattern,
Yeah.
how are you now with treating yourself? Because for me, all right,
Yeah.
me first. Like, sorry, the rest of you are on the bench at all times. It is me first.
All the time.
Am I healthy? Am I the man I want to be? Am I, and there's no perfect day. No day is out of a movie. You don't get to edit, cut, rewind.
Yeah.
People around you are happening, but I'm never going to compromise you or myself so you can be comfortable. I have standards, I have values, and I'm going to express those, and I'm going to live them out. And that's not easy for people. But
That's your current you now.
That's me now.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying if you're 20, you need to be where I am.
Yeah.
I've been on a 15-year journey, right, to get here. This is not, I
Yeah.
didn't wake up like this.
Yeah.
But for you, do you feel like you need to keep an eye on that? Because if your pattern was treat her better,
Yeah.
do you always put yourself second, maybe in situations even in life now? Have you noticed that pattern?
Well, with family, I would put myself second most of the time, with family. But like I'm learning to gradually put myself first. Yeah, the voice of God knows.
No, because this is the thing. From that, what you're saying, Malcolm, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, where it becomes a habit
Yeah.
where and you were talking about being in service,
Yeah.
Sometimes it becomes a habit where people expect it.
Yeah.
Karabo will send money.
Yeah.
Karabo will take care of it.
Yeah.
I've got problems. Let me phone Karabo. It's
Hey.
it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm drunk in the middle of nowhere.
Hey.
I know who'll fetch me, that fool Karabo.
Hey.
No, this is real.
It's real.
For me,
Yeah.
I discovered that in COVID.
Yeah.
I realized in COVID that, you know what, for the last 10 years of my life, I was so preoccupied with distractions, because that's what falling in love so many times is. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
You are distracted from, and this is how I realized in COVID that I've been busy with. I'm not calling the people and the women in my life distractions. I'm calling my behavior
I got you.
towards the relationship distractions.
Self accountability.
You see?
I hear you.
So, and that is why they rejected me, because I was regressing and they were growing and glowing. And I, on the other hand, was just
Going down.
going backwards and backwards because I was too in love, too in this relationship.
Put yourself second.
Distractions.
Yeah. Put everything in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when it dawned upon me that first week or that second week back at home,
2020.
2020, back at home, and I realized, I don't even have internet,
Yeah.
but I'm but I've been building
Yeah.
online radio stations,
Yeah.
but I don't even have internet.
Yeah.
I don't even have a TV in my room.
Mm.
Then I realized that whatever I've been doing with my money all the time, I've been doing for the women what they could have done for themselves, and not looking after me. So that, I think, it was a distraction. Some of these relationships
Mm-hmm.
were distractions, and I think that is the addiction.
Yeah.
Is being addicted to
Yeah.
distractions in your life. Anything that is not connected to where you're going to.
Yeah. Where you going as a
That was
person?
the addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Be it a relationship, love, anything, anything that's just. So yeah, that's.
Wow. Listen, and this is a great way to go to Eldo's TV and some of the stuff I hope you'll talk about, because what you're talking about is a real thing, right? Is exposure. You said earlier the cure to poverty is, you believe, is exposure. I think you said something like that a little bit earlier. You were talking about people need to be exposed.
I don't want to wave a wand and say this is the answer to the problem. No, that's not what I'm saying. Before I get taken to task for that.
I understand. Yeah. People, Malcolm is not saying. Yeah.
You know,
Malcolm is not saying
Yeah.
he's going to take kids from Aldo's to Fourways Mall
and
and then they're all going to become
miraculously they're all
investment
gonna be-
bankers.
yeah,
No,
this is
that's
what
not.
I'm saying.
Okay, so
I'm not saying that.
okay, let's just be very
Yeah.
clear. In cancel culture Twitter 2021,
know,
we need to be
Yes,
clear.
like and they'll
Malcolm is
just
not a
cut that
politician.
out
Yeah, they
there.
will.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
here's
So
Malcolm.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I had a friend, for example. I had a friend that is a lawyer,
Mhm.
is an ANC comrade, and he was my father's friend. And because I love listening to stories, I've got an imagination.
Sure.
So I used to listen to him talk about what it was like growing up in the apartheid era, growing up as a student activist, and his use of words and his tone was exciting and
Yeah.
entertaining to me.
Ah.
And I said, I want to do this. I want to be like this. And I wanted to do what he's doing. I wanted to go to university. I wanted to hang out with people, aristocrats. I wanted to dress like that because it looked well on him. And that's how I've gone through life. And then I worked in companies, and then I saw somebody doing something, and I'm like, I love radio. And that's how I've gone through life. Just I believe that God is not in the business of exposing you just for the sake of exposing you. If he exposed me to media, he exposed me to men and women that are in media and media moguls, and so because he wanted to ignite an appetite in me
Yeah.
for this industry.
Yeah.
I think that, you see, so that is the exposure that I'm talking about. Is that put people in proximity of these young people,
Yeah.
so that eventually something in him or her will a light will switch on, and that person will gravitate towards what they've been. If the young people are exposed to drugs, they will gravitate towards doing drugs. If
Yeah.
there's a smoker in the house, one of the children will smoke.
Yeah.
So expose young people to whatever you can see. Television is a beautiful example. Whatever we expose to on television
Yes.
becomes the norm in society.
Yeah.
You see, so now we're always saying we're taking that same model and we're exposing our young people, and that's how I think our young people will just expose young people to some of the things that because they will a light will switch on in a young person's heart, and that's what happened to me, and that's why I know about broadcasting, that's why I know about business, that's how I know about how to change the industry. Michael exposed me to another side of the industry, about the technical side of the industry. and it is so interesting to me, you know. So I feel expose the young people, you know. Yeah.
So can I, that's just incredible because I love media. I love the art of oratory. I have, it's in my family. It's deeply in my family. My grandfather, my mother is the greatest orator I know. And what you're saying is really setting me on fire because, we can shape the consciousness of our youth through media. It's such a tragedy that our national broadcasting distributor is such a mess because it shapes the consciousness of what we do.
Can I? Sorry to
No.
interrupt
You. Hey, Malcolm, do not be sorry.
So, I read a book many years ago. I don't read much, honestly. I just read when necessary
Sure.
Yeah.
to understand and to do.
I got you.
You know, if I don't understand something, I'll read about it. But
Read as you go.
I'm not an avid reader. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
You're not some guy getting a grey beard in a library.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
Read as you
with
go.
a
But I
dirty
read a
cup.
book by any means necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Malcolm X. He says the problem with, and he was talking about the civil rights movement, I think at the time, and obviously I think he did. He says the problem with mobilizing, in America you want to mobilize and sleep people around a goal. You first need to wake them up and then you can
Oh, wow.
mobilize them.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So for me, we first need to wake up a young person to say, hey, this drugs and this thing, this violence, this trauma that you see, yeah, it is there, it's real. But I want to also wake up in you another reality. And that's the exposure I'm referring to.
I love it.
You see?
I love it.
You see?
What you're saying is amazing. For me, so one thing I always noticed when I go home, so again, rural, in the rural areas, it's very rare to have drug problems,
Yeah.
and it's coming back to what you were saying. People are you hate to be kind of like this, but there's more of a community civilization there. Because to be honest with you, I just moved into a new place a month and a half ago. I'm not joking when I say I have no clue who my neighbor is. It could be a 75-year-old Italian sex worker.
You just don't.
I would have no idea. Isn't that sad? And my point is this, is I kind of feel like what you're talking about is connection, right? You're saying those drugs that you see, the trauma that you see in and around you, and to Karabo's addiction thing is we all want to feel connected. Is my takeaway. Now, I might be wrong, but I can only see the world through my own eyes, is we're also desperate to feel connected, which is why, an addiction to something, I get to drill down into, there's nothing more connected than I drill down into my primal self, If I hit the booze, boy, oh boy, I feel like a man.
Yeah.
And then I'm alive, and then the people want to touch me and feel me. Really, alcohol is loosen up.
Yeah.
I want to feel people's energy. And I mean, if you're vibrating at that level, sometimes the energy's off, and we do what we do. But ultimately, everything that you're talking about to me sounds a little bit like connection. But can I ask you what might be a sensitive question on this? And I'd love to know whether the content on so is it going to be Aldo's TV? Is that where we're starting? Maybe we can talk a little bit about that before I ask my question.
Aldo's TV is I'm from El Dorado Park, right? I am a person of mixed race, origin, whatever you want to call us, and the people I'm exposed to every day are people who praat wat Afrikaans praat, wat lyk soos ek en klink soos ek en dink soos ek. So that's the content you will get there. Their issues, their stories, unique stories.
Got you.
In their unique dialect, in Afrikaans.
Ja.
En ook nie suiwer Afrikaans nie, jy weet.
Ek verstaan, ja.
Maar in Afrikaans wat ons elke dag praat daar by die huis.
Ja.
Verstaan jy my, bra? So that's what we're going to be doing. But the idea is to use, because we've got, I think, 18 to 22 NGOs, non-governmental NPOs, NGOs, CBOs, and so on.
Yeah.
So they will be the programming committee. So those organizations the content will come from them. So those will be stories from the community with real people, with real issues, and it will be, I think, embedded journalism, if you want to call it that.
I got you.
It's and it's going to be in their language, and we are not going to be limited by time, by advertisers. We are not going to be dictated by advertisers, and language and class. You know, we're gonna give it to you raw, but we are going to tell stories more than anything else. We want to tell stories of real people, and we want to tell stories from a mixed group of people.
Yes.
We want to tell the story of why some of us are racist.
Mm-hmm.
We want to also tell the story of why some of us are colored and want to be identified as colored.
Yes.
We're going to tell stories about why some of us are black, why some of us are not sure, like me, I'm not sure where I really stand because I look like everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to tell those stories as well.
Hold on. Hey, you just made a mistake right there.
Yeah.
You're not going to say those kinds of things, and I'm going to let you move on.
Yeah.
Talk to me about colored identity. Is that? Talk to me about how you feel about your place. Do you feel a part of the colored community?
I do because I grew up in they know me. They know me. I know them. You know, we grew up from saam skool geloop in die same neighborhood. Ons het dieselfde pot uit geëet, né? Ons het saam soccer gespeel.
Yeah.
Well, I never played soccer, but they played soccer. I always watched.
Yeah.
Ons het saam karre gesteel.
Yeah.
Saam
Real stuff.
saam gerook, gedrink.
Yeah.
Our mothers knew each other. We grew up together.
Yeah. And
So
your mothers knew
these are
each
my
other as
people.
well. Yeah.
You know, these are my
Yeah.
people. But there are also another part of me. Ek is van Limpopo.
Hey, where?
Buysdorp. You know?
My mother's from Limpopo.
Yeah. And my grandmother from my father's side is from Madibogo.
Yeah, man.
You know? And my grandmother from my mother's side are from Rustenburg, and there are so many people. The unfortunate thing about Eldo's TV is this: my grandfather is from Bloemfontein, and he speaks 7 languages. He's late now, of course. My grandmother's also late. They met. He was a railway police officer, and he met his bride at the railway in Noordgesig, right? And they fell in love, and there comes us. But their story has never been told. It could have been such a beautiful love story
Sure.
to say how these two people, and if you look at them, you would because he looked like a white man, and she looked like my mother, like a swart vrouw, curly hair, black skin,
Yeah.
you know. But they were madly, passionately in love. But there's a story there.
Yeah.
And those two people have a story as well. And they have an origin. And I can't deny my grandmother from Madibogo and from Soshanguve. I can't deny my connection to those people. And I can't deny the Afrikaner, the Koenraad de Buys. I can't deny that.
bruh.
Conrad Buys, I love it.
Because you're connected there.
Because I'm connected.
Ek love
Because
it.
I love Afrikaans. Ek kan Afrikaans praat, ek kan Afrikaans skryf. En op een stadium zou ik zeker Afrikaanse dominee ook geweest het. Maar die Here het die deure toegemaak aan die planne. So, but that's who I am. I'm mixed. I'm so unique. And that's what we're going to celebrate on Eldo's TV.
Amazing.
We're not going to tell a story of, we're certainly not going to divide people, especially not young people.
Thank you.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to discuss things in a way that polarizes people.
Yeah.
And that tells a narrative of divide, because then I would be inconsistent with my Christian values. But we're gonna tell stories still.
Hey, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's what Elders TV is about. And that's what we're gonna do. And I think with so that's what Elders TV is about. Man.
And where are we in the process? You're talking to Michael and the guys. Obviously, if you're talking to Forbidden and Michael.
I'm talking to Michael and them and the guys over here. and we're not at liberty to share some of the
No, sure.
information right
Sure,
now.
sure.
We're busy with our premises in El Dorado Park. We're using shopping containers, lovely shopping containers. We'll have a coffee shop there called Coffee on Deck. And we'll have
Hey.
coffee on deck. And it's premium coffee.
By the
roast-
way,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes.
My man right here.
Oh,
My brother right here.
you don't know what you've started there.
When you talk coffee. My man.
Premium roasted coffee.
I'm gonna have to come there and taste
Yeah.
it because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If you're saying premium,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to come there.
Yeah.
I'm not letting guys and elders be drinking something called premium, but it's just re coffee that's turned into beef.
No. Come, no.
Because then you and I, you're gonna have to be that 20-year-old again.
no,
You and me, we're gonna have to have a fight.
Now we're gonna have, yeah.
Nobody can drink rubbish
No.
coffee and have a good day.
You just come. You. And that will also serve as our studio. But it is also a great space because there's gonna be over 6 or 8 stores right there at this particular location.
Phenomenal.
Right. So it's a mini. I don't know if you've been to the Bed Center in Durban.
Have I been to the bed center?
So it's something similar to that, where you'll have locals having shops, selling goods, and Elders TV will be that will be our home. We'll broadcast live from there and live from here, of course. But we're creating something new. We're creating something fresh. There's employment, and
Are you employing only local, or are you going to bring in some experts and train up some local guys?
I'm going to have a blended situation where
Got
I'm
you.
going to get the people I've known in the industry and help the locals and so I'm going to definitely employ the locals.
Amazing.
And I call it the community empowerment zone, a CEZ.
You know,
Yeah.
I love 2020 because it sparked new doers and believers. And I think prior 2020, the world was just knocking us down. Like, yeah, you think you can do this thing? Yeah,
Stay in your place.
yeah, stay in your place. You know. But after 2020, I won't say after 2020 because this thing has been in your mind for more
For
than
10 years.
Yeah, for 10 years.
Because
But but after 2020, like we amongst movers and shakers. This guy is a mover and shaker. Nobody's thinking this in El Dorado Park. He's the only guy doing it. Like
I started Eldo's FM community radio.
So is that going right now?
Yeah, that's now up and
Imagine.
running for 11 years. They are employing 42 young people.
Get out of here.
From various communities, from Freedom Park, El Dorado Park, and outside.
Wait,
42.
are those 42 people getting paid?
They're getting paid at Eldo's FM.
That's insane.
The management there are doing an exceptional job of maintaining that place, that institution, and that people for 11 years. And you know what? The beauty about that story is this. If I had not been rejected from that institution,
Can you say what the institution was where you got rejected?
Eldo's FM,
Oh, so you were working there.
I was the founder.
Oh,
of
get
it,
outta here.
Together with another with
Oh my
another,
God.
with another friend.
I didn't realize this.
Yeah, with another friend, and she's there. She's the station manager there.
Okay.
She's kept the place intact for over 11 years now with my absence. If I had not been rejected at that place, it would have fell flat on its face. God had to orchestrate pain so that I be rejected, so that I find myself here doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Can you see? So, man,
You're a different guy.
I'm a different guy
He's a
because of
different breed.
rejection.
You're a different man, dude. I've never done anything for more. Honestly, I'm being dead honest. I have never done anything for more than 5 people to benefit at the same time. I've just thought about it now. The most I've employed people on a set before, but that was okay. You're gone. That was his falling in love situation, short term. You know, a movie, documentary, short term.
Yeah.
Then get the hell out of my face.
Yeah.
I've 42 people, because that's 42 lives that will never be the same again.
Yeah.
Not just on the monetary side.
Yeah.
They've seen what a microphone is. They know how to plug a microphone in. Now that
They're
sounds
getting opportunities. 2 of them now at the moment are at Kaya FM.
get out of town.
Yeah. One is at 5 FM. One is doing movies and adverts. I can show you.
But hold on, they started at
They
Eldos.
started at Aldo's FM.
So that is
So this industry can still create jobs. This industry, the online, taking content online is creating new jobs. There are new opportunities, and we are at the forefront of it.
does everyone in the community obviously know who you are?
They know me. Of
Obviously,
course,
come
yeah,
on.
They know me.
Come on, you can't be this guy.
Yeah, they know me.
So now, because
there's an they do know me, but
tell me the story. Why were you laughing?
I've way back in the day, I was on Jam Ellie. And,
Oh, for $500, top left, 500 Rand and a jam blaster. Vanoli, hey, R.I.P. Vanoli.
yeah, with Vanolia.
RIP.
Hey, R.I.P.
RIP.
Yeah,
Mashego was a different
yeah.
animal.
So it's kind of there where
Did you win a jam blaster?
I won the singer of the year.
I win.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah,
That time
Bangania,
they
yeah,
gave
yeah.
They gave us vouchers. At the time it was Dion's. So I bought my
Wow.
parents a patio set, outdoor patio, garden patio set with the
The awning.
patio, yeah,
Yeah,
That was a
like
lot of money,
yeah, and
That's
Back then.
great.
and a box of Jam Ellie chocolates
Oh, yes, I remember.
and 5,000 rand.
Really?
Yeah. So since after that, I was also always on TV, and it was just. But then I also realized that I was born to be in this industry in media.
Yeah.
And I love to watch people entertain people. It gives me so much joy.
So let me ask you: when you walk in the streets, how do you feel now? Because if you're saying Eldos, you got to have your head on a swivel. Let's keep it real. But if you're walking like 11 at night, do you feel safe? You being you.
Well, for me, ek is mos nie 'n bang gat nie. Maar so
But even if these naughty boys come up to you, have they ever come up to you and they go, "Oh, uncle, it's you,"
well,
like that? You know what I mean? Like that. Sometimes you got the street cred.
there was time. Well, I can still brawl.
Yeah.
I can brawl.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I haven't had that because they know me,
That's what I'm saying.
and that's number. But also, why are you walking at 10 o'clock at night? in the
Yeah.
dark? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're asking for problems.
Yeah.
So I don't do that.
You're not that guy.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. Stay at home.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah, Pepsi.
Don't go there and don't go there.
Because at
No.
night they won't see. They'll just see
Yeah,
someone and then,
yeah,
you
you
know.
Hey, listen, the world's not perfect. Where you live, I'm sure you know some real guys that have done some real stuff,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
said. So even to you, I'm sure, because sometimes we think, and I've seen it where my cousins are from, where they make a little bit of money, and they kind of want to go back and floss to people back in the community, right? Generally, it's been kind of my thing. I'm just talking now from a black man's perspective. I always question, especially my cousins and the people in my family. So if you're doing it at another family, it's not my problem. I'm not a preacher. But I always say, when guys start to floss, like I asked my younger cousin, he's starting to make serious money now. Like he's an investment banker, and I see him going home more and more now. Like, why are you doing that? And he's flossing to our own people. He doesn't floss to the people here in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So, but there's no respect in that. Is my point. I always tell him, dude, that is not respect. Because we all want, the great Rothschild matriarch said something unbelievable a lot of years ago. She said, if you can't have love, have respect.
Yeah.
If you cannot have respect, have fear, right? And ideally, you want the first one. People want to be loved. If I can't love you, you want people to respect you, right? And then fear is always the last one. You never want to be, like you're saying, now you're this man that you don't want to intimidate people. You want people to respect and ideally love you in the beginning. I think when somebody like you walks around, I think if I was a guy in Eldos right now, no matter how much of a delinquent I was, I'd find it very difficult to come to you and stick you up. Like, and not because you're giving me money or you're rich. There's a certain level of respect.
Yeah.
Because you're putting your heart into Eldos. You're not bringing a Cadillac.
Yeah.
You're not bringing a sick car to show people.
Yeah,
because
that you're
sometimes,
living,
I could imagine some of the examples they see some of the brothers moving with something sick and the two ladies in the back, and they think, oh, that's what I have to do to get it. But what you have is the real respect now.
The real thing.
This is not, oh, he's got money. It's not because of what you have. It's like that
We know him.
Bali over there put up Eldos FM.
Yeah.
no matter who you are, you have to respect that. Do you know what I'm saying? Or do I
yes.
sound crazy to you?
No, you 100% correct, and I pick that up in some instances, and in some instances I just get contempt, and but also, um, I really it's been tough because 2020 gave us a little bit of a blow.
Sure.
So there are times that I feel that I don't get that anymore. I don't get that respect. But I think also that fuels me to say, don't bask in your previous glory.
I got
You
you.
got to do new things now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's the I shall say, in lack of a better word, the catalyst needed for me to pull myself towards myself and do a new thing, because God's doing a new thing. You know, you can't bask in old glory. So, Elders TV,
Elders TV. Huh?
our stories.
Before I let you go, is there in your mind? Do you ever lay down and just think what your wish is for the 6-year-old, 10-year-old that's in Elders right now that you see walking in the street every day? I mean, you're doing Elders TV. We can all do small part, but do you have a wish for your community that people can live a certain way, like just a message for them? Because for me, I don't know how to open up conversations about connection, but I just feel we are so disconnected as people, and that's so easy for me to say in my nice bed and comfortable apartment. But I just, South Africa right now is hurting just everywhere. It's not an economic thing. We're hurting as a people across the board. And I don't know if do you have kind of a wish, and maybe just for your own people, where maybe Elders TV could fit in, or just how they could live.
You know what, man? I think people need to be enlightened. You know, I think I like one thing I said, and this is not an attack on the church, right? It's not an attack on the church, but it's an observation, and I think we are allowed to make our own observations.
That's fair.
We have so many churches, church buildings, congregations in the Eldorado Park, and in colored communities in particular.
Sure.
Many. I'm talking about lots of them, right? And it is good that we have churches. It's the cornerstone of our communities, for those of us who do believe, right? But when I look at how people process and relate on social media to disagreements, to misunderstandings, I kind of like, is the church doing enough? Do we need more than just people that go to church? We need people who are enlightened. We need people who are really being touched in a unique way by the Holy Spirit, that would look beyond that. We need to have a different kind of person and leader to take on the challenges that we have in South Africa. Somebody that looks beyond self, beyond your own ideology, beyond your own sexuality, beyond your own poverty, beyond your own lack, beyond your own. We need that kind of leaders. Selfless. We need a different kind of leader in Eldorado Park. That's enlightened, and that awakens that in other people, because we're in trouble. We're in trouble, and I don't see the kind of leaders that are really speaking to people in a different way. And that's all I can say to the people. I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I don't know who she is.
No, prophesy.
Because
Go
I want
deeper.
to say something. I want to say something.
Let's put it out there.
I've been working in communities for over in Eldorado Park and Easter's and Annandale for over 15 years now. And my experience and everywhere I've been led when working with a woman, I love working under woman leadership. I find myself being more creative. I find myself being, I don't know, but it's just something about the women leadership in Eldorado Park that I really want to serve under them. So I hope that we get the kind of leaders in Eldorado Park, especially amongst the women, that are capable of igniting that enlightenment in our people. That is that it's beat, because we can't be business as usual.
Shout out to the queens, man.
Hey.
Straight up.
Listen, man.
Yeah,
We can't be business as usual.
Yeah,
it can't be
yeah.
business as usual.
Listen,
Yeah.
the,
Has to change.
Because
to
for
change.
me, with me, I got problems with the paar Owens.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
I've got a problem with a few guys,
Sure.
ideologically and that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
egos and all
You
of
know,
that.
egos and all that. You know what? So I don't think that I'm that. I don't think I'm that leader.
Mm.
But I think I'm the leader that's gonna be behind the leader,
Mhm.
got you.
and I want to be behind that person that becomes. So, another preacher said, "If you are an eye,
Mm.
you are an eye,
Yes.
a full eye,
Yeah.
and you see the vision and the future. You know,
I see.
nah? You're still gonna need legs to get there as an eye. You see."
Got you.
So that's what I want to be to the visionary, is the legs. If I'm the visionary, then I need somebody to be the legs.
I understand.
You know that kind of thing. So I prefer that. I love working with women. Really, I just love working with women.
It's the best.
You know what's interesting is
Yeah.
I've always thought the ability to harbor life
Mm-hmm.
changes how you look at the world.
Yes. Eish.
Like there's just, as a man, and this is not to be glib. I don't like. I can never think of what it's like to actually store life for 9 months. No man can, because you can't imagine that. I can imagine the pain of breastfeeding. You know, I've hit my nipple on a tree when I'm running.
Yeah.
I can imagine that pain. The pain of menstrual cycles your whole life.
Every month.
And then to
Yo.
actually have another living thing inside of you, there is no deeper connection in life. I don't care how much you love your car or whatever guys say. I don't know. So naturally,
Special people.
down to the genetic coding, is that's going to make the leadership look different, and it's going to manifest itself differently, of course. Because men's thing, I want to spread my seed and conquer, right?
Yeah.
That's our vibe.
That's why I get so irritated now with women that are bullies,
Mm.
because man,
Can I ask you a question then? You know, the woman thing's an interesting one. I've spoken
Yeah.
to quite a few about that, and I'd like to know what you think.
Yeah.
But I've always found it interesting, the woman thing, you know. I was in Davos and I listened to this Swedish lady talking about a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
She said, if you look at women in history that we idolize, the lens that women are offered power through is so limited. Okay, let's take Margaret Thatcher. Everybody always says woman leader. What do people reference? Thatcher.
Margaret
But
Thatcher.
Thatcher's as male-like as you can get.
Yeah.
Because if you're a woman, you should lead like a woman. Like if you think of your mother, she's not Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
Your mother would never ever say the problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of someone else's money, right? Your mother would always give you money. Your mother would take the shirt off her back, right? Margaret Thatcher is as male-like. So often, look at the women we venerate. We offer them the power thing, but it's actually through a male lens. Like, excuse me, my sister, could you come closer? Because what are the type of women you always see? Tulima Donzela.
Yeah.
She's strong. What do we like about her?
Yeah.
Whereas actually we know what we would like our mother to be.
Yeah.
Forgiving,
Yeah.
soft. It's going to be okay. But we almost like, no, sorry, you can't be in the boardroom with that.
Yeah.
And if you allow, it sounds like if you allowed it to flow and what you're saying. So I'd like to know what your thoughts are on something like that. Is even if we chase women, why do we want the most male version of a woman to be? We never go, oh, okay, this person is softer
Yeah.
and whatever. Let that be the leadership style, and surely that's going to set a tone. Or do you think that the patriarchy is just so strong in us that we want dominate all the time?
You know, look, I don't have real thoughts about that really. It's just that for me personally, because it's such a convoluted
It is.
argument.
It is.
You know?
It is. It's not simple.
But for me, I always found myself wanting to serve better under a woman. because they just have a different way of speaking to you. They just interested to why do you feel this way? Why do you feel they can really sit down and try and understand you to say, why are you angry?
Yes.
What makes you angry? Why do you feel I'm taking advantage of you? Please tell me. I want to understand.
Yeah.
Now men would say, hey man, hey, tell you man, hey man, I say you man.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah,
we
young man.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You moet hier soos
Clockwork.
You moet
We
hier
like
soos
that.
5 o'clock man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. We
have
clock.
a niks hoor nie man.
I hear you.
straight.
You know, but a woman would say, I understand it. It's tough coming to work. Understand.
Yeah.
I understand. They kind of have
Yeah,
that, you
yeah.
know, and you're like, okay, and they really engage you, man. And then sometimes you'll just say, hey, man, I wil nie weer hoor hoe se gaan my so baie goed. Laat ek net werk toe gaan man. Man, laat ek nie so maar. Hey, don't do this. Let me just do this for this woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just have that. So I think maybe they're peacemakers, man.
Yeah.
And look, again, if you can harbor life generally, if you love somebody,
Yeah.
you know, if you love somebody hard enough, if it's so hard. Like for me, when I was up to my rubbish, my mother was just loving me harder and harder and harder. And it's so hard when somebody loves you to say no for 10 years, man. My mother for my whole 20s.
That's why
Come home. I
just
love
can't-
you. She dropped these messages.
Yeah.
I say, yeah, this woman, man, 10 years later,
10
still,
years.
she's still busy. Okay, let me go see what she's got to say.
And that's why I can get so. That's why this is what I wanted to say. That's why I get so irritated or so sad when I see some of the nursing staff treating some of the patients in our state hospitals the way,
Yeah.
and I'm like, women are so. Then there's the other argument that these people are under pressure, and that and that and that and that. You know, there are all these arguments for it and against it, but I just feel that, you know, like, why are they not sympathetic? They can see there's a problem with that's why this thing of this young lady of Lufuno's
Yeah.
really touched me in a different way, because, you know, it was like, she knows that women are being raped. She knows that women are taken advantage of. She knows that women have this story of colorism, of hair texture.
Yeah.
And because that child and my sister, when I read my sister's message, I actually cried, because what my sister said was, she knows that pain that young lady feels, and it runs deep. That's what my sister said. And I could just, because I grew up with two sisters. My two sisters are younger. They're also dark skinned and growing up in a colored community, those were issues of dark skin and
Colorism, very real.
and cruise hare and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that from kak. So that story of that young lady and how she was treated reminded me of how in our growing up in colored communities,
Yes.
how some other coloreds have treated other coloreds.
Yeah.
And that is why I felt that so badly. And I hated that. I just hated that. And what it symbolized for dark skinned women and kruiskopper and swart fella.
Yeah.
That, because there was such a vicious and a hatred-filled exchange there. And I don't want to be like that. I don't want to become like that. And I had to go and pray so that I don't want to keep that in my heart, because it festers.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it out. And that's why I cried, because it was just bad, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, from my side, that's it from my side, man, guys.
Dude, you're a legend.
Bruh.
No, seriously, you're a legend.
Guys, we don't bring normal people here, but they're normal at the same time.
No, dude, you are a legend. I met you today, and unbelievable. No, Malcolm, I mean that, and thank you for.
Yeah.
Wow, your honesty is just incredible, dude. I really, really appreciate you. And
Man, Eldorado Park.
you're gonna be
guys
back.
have-
Aldo's TV, dude.
Aldo's TV. He's coming back. He's running the game.
And by the way,
Yeah.
so I'm an idiot, right? I failed 2 years of science at school. If you ever need somebody to come and talk about chemistry badly to the kids, it's something that I would love to do. Be involved in Aldo's TV.
Mr. Thinta.
Even if it's in 3 years' time, you know, I'm planting the seed that
Let's go.
because again, and what you were saying, it's about connecting people.
Yeah.
You've said this poor girl has killed herself because people want to disconnect, but that's not what's going to happen on Elders TV.
No,
We're going to be connecting people.
we're gonna be connecting people.
Yeah.
Malcolm Bass, thank you very much.
Thank you, my bro.
Michael buys.
Hey.
You know, not buys.
Buys.
Buys everything. Like he's the CEO. Michael,
Malcolm buys.
Yeah, Malcolm buys everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, base.
Forbidden, you're the man.
Salute.
You're the man.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Malcolm. Shout out to everybody loving their family. Rest in peace to DMX. Salute to the legend.
Hey, shout out DMX. Huh?
Yeah, DMX.
Hey, listen, he was a deeply,
yeah.
and what I enjoyed about him, and
Mhm.
kind of, hey, you've done a DMX today.
Yeah.
You know, is he was from a place where I can imagine
Uh-huh.
he had to be strong, right?
Uh-huh.
But his music would always talk about his depression, his crack addiction, and
Yeah.
and all the darkness, dude. And you've come here and you've been.
Yeah.
People from Aldos are not one thing.
Yeah.
They are human beings with a spectrum
Yeah.
of feelings.
Yeah.
They are also ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
Please, can we stop this?
And they're also educated.
In fact, they are capable of anything, just like you and your friends, wherever you are when you hear this. So, and I appreciate your honesty. The fact that you even said you cried, that's awesome.
Someone next to you is special.
Michael,
Salute.
listen, Michael, this has been awesome. We got the voice of God. His name is actually Michael.
Yeah.
Michael equals God. Mr.
Yeah.
Bass, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Forbidden,
bro.
the
Yeah.
best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thinta.
guys.